Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's Friday, February 24th, and you have tuned into the NFT Morning Show. We run the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, where we talk all things JPEGs, finances, entertainment, and everything in between. I'm your host, P.O., here with my co-host, the funniest man in the business, a gigabrain in his own right, Nifty Nick. Easy Eats Bodega, one of the most active market participants that you're ever going to find. Nobody knows which way the wind is blowing like Easy knows which way it's blowing. He's the host of GM Market Talk. He's the host of Web3 Made Easy, and he is the founder of Bodago's, soon to be the #1 NFT collection on a blockchain near you. We got Bunny. Bunny, it just says that you're NFT Nick's self-proclaimed best friend.
Yeah, I kind of see it as like the Web3 Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart.
You're The Rock and Nick is Kevin Hart?
Yeah, it's pretty odd. You see how clear that like he knew which one was which, Nick.
Nick, do you have any comment on that?
Now let's move on to the next subject.
Well, Nick, how you doing this morning, amigo?
I spent my night dreaming about how I was fixing the alarm, the ring. What do you call the thing when you ring a doorbell? There you go.
The doorbell.
Fixing the doorbell on my apartment. I literally had an entire dream about that all night. It was like, you know, when you're just like working in a dream, and you're like, what? I just spent the whole night working.
So you know? Exactly. You were working all night.
Yeah, I pretty much was working, and then I woke up early, and I'm just like, "What's going on here?" But it's one of the most. It was unsatisfying. Anyways,
I'm sorry to hear that, man.
I'll make it through. I feel like we'll make it.
Okay. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Friday. We got a lot to talk about. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a jam. Easy, how are you doing this morning, amigo?
Man, I'm trying to figure out this Bueno thing to generate some art. And let me tell you, defining rules is some busy work. It's a lot of fun. But no, it's good. Wasn't as active in the market yesterday. Killer Bears had a nice run up, though. So that was great to see. Captains had a nice run up from last week. Also great to see. So it looks like them buys are panning out if you're listening to the buy, sell, send it.
Yeah, I'm seeing it looks like this thing, the open edition Killer Bears thing's at 0.054, which I think is higher than where
Burn 3 is today on that. The actual Killer Bears broke 4 though. So they were sub 4 yesterday, and I said, I think we retest 5. And it's looking like it's shaping up to be exactly like that. We had Captains go on a nice run too after an interesting thread about the meme token got dropped. I think that drove some volatility and price action. And thankfully, no Miladies showed up to my door. So that was a win.
That's always a win. That's a huge win. Clemente, what's going on? How you doing this morning?
I'm fired up, man. I went to an XFL game last night. Which is for anyone that doesn't know, it's like a league that was started by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. There's 8 teams. It's way less rules than the NFL, and it's like a feeder league for the NFL. So it's like a bunch of, like, we have Josh Gordon, the Seattle Sea Dragons do, and it was a good time. It was pretty rowdy.
Yeah, I bet it was rowdy as hell. I think it was started by Vince McMahon, the founder of WWE, and The Rock bought it from him.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not playing around. They're not playing. There weren't a lot of people there. Apparently, you can get season tickets for like $300 on like the 3rd row. But it was a good time.
Nick, what do you think of that? Do you want to go to a sporting event where season tickets for great seats cost $300?
Yeah, in fact, I'd prefer going to a sporting event like that.
Okay, all right. Nick, do you want to say anything before? I'm just curious, before we get to our question of the day, is there anything on Nick's mind that he wants to get out there?
No, I'm just enjoying being in Paris.
Oh, yes, ladies and gentlemen, you probably forgot. We are in Paris right now. The whole squad is in Paris for NFT Paris.
Oh la la. Oh, je m'appelle Nicolas. How are you doing today?
Listen to that. Listen to old Nick representing for Paris out here. I love how we were able to recreate our at-home setups in Paris. Like, that's the level of professionalism that we bring every single day to our content. Is we had Set Deck design a whole just reproduction of our home setups only in Paris, which is pretty cool. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we got the question of the day today. Clemente, what's the question of the day?
What are your go-to weekend activities? I'm trying to make some weekend plans, and I'd love some ideas. So it's posted and pinned.
Easy. What do you do on the weekends?
I work.
Do you do anything else?
No, I sit at my desk and I work. It's a lot of fun. Sometimes I'll get crazy and go have some food. Maybe sometimes if I'm feeling rowdy, but that's about it. It's a good time. How about you, Pia? What do you do on the weekends?
Well, I will maybe sometimes get on my e-bike that I purchased because Nick bought one and go around New York. I'll meet up with friends of mine. Sometimes I'll train a little martial arts, do the different things. What do you do on the weekends, Nick?
I work as well, because I drank the other night, and I now don't need a weekend for the next 3 years. So that's my sort of plan. I'm going to a Broadway play tonight.
Ooh.
And then
play?
tomorrow, the Michael Jackson one.
Oh, damn. That's going to be sick.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that.
You got good seats?
I have no idea. I didn't buy them. So yeah, I don't know the rest of the weekend. I mean, I don't know. We have some stuff coming up here. And so my guess is I'll be doing some work, but I'll also be relaxing some as well. My main goal is to sleep.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear. Bunny, what do you do on the weekends before I read some audience responses?
Just Twitter.
You don't do anything else?
I coach my son's basketball team. We play on Saturdays. We're a 5-point underdog this week.
First of all, Bunny, what makes you qualified to coach basketball?
Dude, they'll let anybody coach. Trust me. People aren't falling over to coach these first-grade basketball teams, Bill. Let me tell you.
Wait, you're a 5-point underdog? Hold up. There's lines.
Yeah, me and the parents, we put lines together.
No, you don't.
No, we don't. No, we don't.
How serious do you take it? Is it on the table for you to fight another coach or another parent?
No, there was the two parents. So the grade under us, the kindergarten league. For week 1, there were 2 parents who got into a brawl in the stands. So, and they don't keep score in these leagues. They don't even keep score. So I don't know what the hell they're fighting about.
Well, you hear about that stuff. If you don't have little tykes of your own, you might not see it with your own eyes. That's why I ask, Bunny. Really great to know that you're a parent. Out of everybody here, Bunny's the one with the kids. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we got some responses. Vinny Hager, very talented artist, the artist behind the collection Letters by Vinny Hager. Let us know on the weekends he draws. I bet you do more than that, Vinny, but thank you for that contribution. Rondell, one of our super listeners, shout out to Rondell, said she just got back from a Harry Styles concert. Then she has Ed Sheeran and Florence and the Machine coming up the next 2 weekends. So she's going to concerts. What she's not telling you, she's taking hallucinogenic drugs when she goes to those concerts. Lurk loves you. Very talented artist, said he works every day, but he'll go for walks. He'll go to Costco, maybe go to dinner. Play Destiny 2 with the homies. Easy. What is Destiny 2?
Destiny is a great game. It's a RPG open world style. So missions, dungeon, think Diablo, but futuristic.
Dude, I just want to say shout out to everyone doing human things, man. You're out there drinking water. You're out there eating food. You may even use the bathroom. You may even sleep a little bit. That's what I'm talking about. That's called survival. That's called living. That's called being an effective human. Do you have shelter? Do you sleep at night? That's the type of thing that we're looking for out here as humans. And so I'm going to be doing some of that. I do that stuff every single day. And I just want to say I appreciate all of you for living those experiences the same way that we do. Some of us getting even crazy and going to concerts. I mean, that's pretty extreme. As we discussed yesterday, that's a place you're not going to find me anytime soon. but I may go to a nice sit-down restaurant, and get into a little bit of a disagreement with the waiter or something like
with
that.
the staff of the
Or
organization.
that's a high probability event with me. I'm going to be honest. Went to a sushi place last weekend, and
How was it?
it was talking about omakase. Everywhere they discuss it. When you make the reservation, when you walk up to the restaurant, it says, get our omakase. Only, I think it's like 85 or 65, but whatever the amount was, it's reasonable for a New York omakase. And I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna do it. I sit down, I place the order, and I'm like, I'm gonna have the omakase, or we're both gonna have the omakase, the person I was with. And the woman or the gentleman working there was like, I'm gonna go have to check with the chef to see if we can do any more omakases right now. And I was like, sorry? And they were like, yeah, I gotta go check. And they went and they checked, and they couldn't do omakases anymore.
Not for you, they can't. Not
I
for you,
was
they
like,
can't.
I was so excited to go and do this omakase experience. I was like, maybe I finally found, like, I like having a go-to spot where I can get, if I want to live it up and have a really nice dinner and have a nice omakase, I got a spot nearby I can go to.
Okay.
So I was excited that I may have found, it was in like Prospect Park, and I thought, okay, like or Prospect Heights, whatever the area is there, and but relatively close. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm gonna find a nice spot here. No, they don't. They won't serve it to me. Here's the kicker. So I made like I was like, so can I go and order all of the items that are on the omakase right now, and then you just deliver that to me? And the people said, what did they were like, well, I don't know if you can do that. And I was like, you have all the items right here. I was like, I'm just going to order that. And they were like, oh man, I don't know if you can. So the manager comes over and has a conversation. She's like, I'm so sorry, but here's what I recommend. And then at the end of the dinner, she says, the whole dinner is on me.
Wow.
But here's the thing. So I now get up to, and I'm going to give you a dessert for free. Would you like a mochi?
That sounds good to you. That sounds really
like,
good.
Are you serious? So now I'm just like, I feel bad that I made like an issue of this. But here's the kicker. I go, I use the bathroom after the meal, and I wash my hands. I come back, and I'm like, my enthusiasm is through the roof at this moment.
Oh yeah,
basically.
You're
and
pulling
like,
the wool
I just
over
got a free dinner, and I sit down. And I look, and I glance eyes with one of the with a waitress. Like I cross paths.
No surprise.
As I'm looking through the restaurant, and she's like, "Oh!" And she runs over and gets the bill and charges me. And the manager is nowhere to be found at this moment in time. And I'm like, "Did I misunderstand the situation that we just had there?" I'm not about to like be like, I deserve a free meal at this point in time. So I bite the bullet and I pay for it. Manager is gone. Let me just tell you, if you want to give away a free meal, that's the way to do it. That was like a Curb Your Enthusiasm style like thing. I'm going to make you an offer and then just disappear. Nowhere to be found.
You got a free meal, but it turns out you didn't, but you got to experience all the emotions that come along with it. That is hilarious. It's certainly something out of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, some other responses from the audience members here. We got Real Blinky Nagiri saying that he goes to Union Square Farmers Market, great produce. Doxing the location, showing that he's a New York farmers market goer. Sean Smith said that he works a half day and then goes to the Italian market down the street and gets lunch on Saturdays. Looks forward to it every week. I love stuff like that. When you have a spot that you go to routinely and you know that it's good, love looking forward to that. Our guy Quadzilla said he does Pokemon Go. I didn't know that was still a thing. So shout out to Quad. We'll read more responses in a bit, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, shout out to our sponsor of today's show, Sorare. If you don't know, Sorare is actually one of the biggest names in crypto. They have millions of registered users and hundreds of thousands of monthly active users. It's basically fantasy sports on the blockchain. Right now, they have deals with the NBA, the MLB, that's Major League Baseball. And get this, the English Premier League signed a 4-year deal with them recently. So the biggest football league, soccer league in the world has a 4-year deal with them. In January, they had 25 million million in sales volume, and they've already had 20 million in sales volume in February, led by, we've talked about this on the show, a $190,000 sale of a Giannis Antetokounmpo basketball card. So pretty crazy stuff. Like I mentioned, hundreds of thousands of users are playing the NBA game on Sorare every single week. If you're a fantasy sports person, if you're in one of these dynasty leagues, then why not attach blockchain, attach ownership of the cards that represent the players that you have on your team so that you can, build for the long term versus just having a transactional fantasy league. Anyway, sign up for Sorare at thenifty.com/Sorare. That's THENIFTY.com/Sorare.
I just wanted to shout out Gohieta Hua, who says he I will beat my 4-year-old son in video games until he cries. That sounds like a great weekend activity, and you sound like a lovely father.
Gotta love it. Anyway, we got to run through our weather report today. I'm actually going to be the person delivering, unless Nick wants to.
I'll do the weather report
Let's
today.
rock.
Today's weather report. There's weather out there. We got volume in the market. Sometimes it's up and sometimes it's down. A lot of people get confused about which directions those are. Up means the numbers go up. Down means the numbers go down. Today's total market volume, $82 million. That's a lot. But it's mostly Blur farming. Blur, 56 million in volume. OpenSea, 16 million. Shout out to Franklin and Machi, who are just completely manipulating the markets out there and driving it into the absolute gutter. Apes, 75.5. Mutant, 16.1. Punk, 63.9. We got Azuki, the mid caps here, looking at 15.1. Moonbird, 6.3. I saw him drop down there. Rough times. Doodles, 5.5. Pudgies, 5.5. Pudgies tied with Doodles. I mean, that's where I like to see it. CloneX, 5.1. Damn, it's just like mid caps are just like a price. Like there's no variance between them, huh? That's ridiculous. Just buy a mid cap. Call it a mid-cap index. Who gives a shit what NFT it is? You're not getting anything from it anyways. Over the past 24 hours, United Planets DAO, the governance entity of inhabitants, created by Pixel Vault. Remember them? They're back. Not launching anything. Instead, they're buying an asset from another game. They're placing a bid, 690 ETH, for the golden key owned by Dookie Dash winner Mongrel. Mongrel is yet to decide on the offer. This guy just laughs in the face of millions of dollars. OpenSea's partnership launched Modern Muse, Marilyn Monroe, ex-Zeblox, Mint Pass, failed to mint out despite being promoted on OpenSea's homepage. I feel like every project on OpenSea's homepage doesn't mint out because they're mostly garbage. Initial sales were slow and failed to break above the high mint price of 0.33 ETH, so the team cut supply. Emergency procedures were enacted. Cut it from 3.3K to 1K, and the floor price rocketed to 0.8 ETH before settling on at 0.7 ETH. Volatility out there, moving between 0.7 and 0.8. Hold on to your seats because it's crazy. Worldwide Webland, MMORPG Metaverse game, announced that the project raised $10 million from Pantera Capital. That led me to go check out Pantera Capital's website to learn who their partners are. News 3x the floor price from 0.2 ETH to 0.6 before settling at 0.4 this morning. Those VC announcements sure to pump the floor for at least 30 minutes. Lastly, Blur and LooksRare agreed to hide OpenSea's marked flag icons by default on its marketplace. Going forward, users will have to manually enable the OpenSea flag view within the collections page settings on Blur, and users won't be able to sell flagged items into bids. I mean, I kind of like that. A lot of people in this space are going to be happy with that move. Oh, did you get rugged by someone? Did someone steal your NFT? And did you lose hundreds of thousands of dollars in your entire life savings? No one gives a shit. Boo boo. Okay. Crypto price 23.9 with K, I guess. ETH 1651. Although when I just checked, that's definitely not where it was at. We're right now at 1634. It's headed down.
The $17 difference.
Big difference. Solana, somewhere in the 23, 24 range, 5.4 for something. I don't know what that is. 94 cents. Steady decline. That's it for the weather report today. Just remember, bring your umbrella or don't. You know, there's going to be weather today.
What a weather report. Ladies and gentlemen, some discussion from the Nifty Daily Digest, which is the newsletter you can subscribe to at thenifty.com, THENIFTY.com. Coinbase created a free NFT mint to celebrate the testnet launch of its new Layer 2 network, Base. So Coinbase leaning in to this Layer 2 that they've announced this week. Proof launched its newest product, Artist Profiles, which allows users to learn more about artists and their backgrounds. So interesting move by Proof. Spotify, the dominant player in music streaming, launched a new trial for token-gated playlists as part of its ongoing Web3 exploration. So Spotify with their big-ticket token-gated playlists, we'll see if those are flying off the shelves. Hard to predict if that's going to happen. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, those are your updates. On to a discussion. Clemente, what are we talking about today?
Sorry, my phone is off. I actually have very quickly some breaking news.
Oh, let's go. Here we go.
Hold on. Just let that play out. We have breaking news. Hold on, Clemente. Let the music play. Okay, breaking news.
Breaking news. Metroverse, the once Metaverse experience, it announced last night that they will be shutting down. They once did 25,000 ETH in trading volume, reached a high of 2 ETH floor price. They will be shutting down. Their floor price currently sits at 0.01 ETH. RIP Metroverse.
Nick, you remember this? Remember this?
Dude, I said this thing is a joke. People were like, "This is the future." You remember we literally crapped on this on the show. I said they had nice design. It looks like the exact sort of thing that a design agency would have thrown together and then done nothing with.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this
turned
that
was basically spot on. Yeah, it was a rug, and everyone that was hating on us.
Yeah, these images were the business. Like this is what the business was these images.
SimCity lookalike images, and they raised 26,000 ETH in secondary volume almost. I mean, that is just insanity. That's like $50 million worth of that. So many people, man, we were getting so much FUD for calling this project a joke. I don't need to spread more negativity. My apologies, everybody. But here I will say this pattern is like, if there's a theme for February 2023, it's all about making announcements about how you're shutting down your project, basically. In the case of Friends With You, they're not. They're coming back. They did a whole PR campaign after they shut it down, and people called it a rug. And they're like, no, it's not a rug. It's not. No. What, like, when we say we're going away for a bit, we don't mean that we're rugging the project. It just means that we're going on a meditation retreat less than 1 year into the launch of our project. That's all that it means. And we don't know when we're coming back, because we need to go find the energy and get our chakras aligned in order to figure out, whether or not, like how this business is going to operate moving forward, because our estimate of how building a business works was completely off. We just completely didn't understand it. We didn't realize that we had to work. And that part of it, a lot of people get confused about it. What they realize is that after you get the money, you got to put in work. And building a game, building websites, building products and experiences requires actual work. And that's something that a lot of people, especially Generation Y, and especially I'll even shout out Generation Z while we're at it. They're a lot of them can be pretty lazy. They can be pretty lazy, and so, but they deserve it. They deserve the money. I'm so sorry, Metroverse, that you guys had to suffer a hard year of work for millions and millions of dollars. That is a struggle.
Well, Nick, empathizing there with Metroverse as they shut down. Clemente, you got your hand raised. What's going on?
Yeah, I wanted to shout out community journalist Jay Lettuce for bringing the news to us. And upon the news, they also claim that they delivered every single deliverable in their roadmap.
That's right.
And they outlined that. So, Nick, they did deliver, according to them, to their roadmap. And they wanted to highlight that in the tweet that no one was allowed to respond to. unless they were.
We delivered, okay? So fuck off is the message of that. Gotta love it.
No one's allowed to respond to the tweet. That is hilarious.
Bet your ass that no one's allowed to respond. Clemente, what are we talking about here? I know that was breaking news. What's the subject du jour?
So I hate to do it, but we're talking Blur again because there are some latest developments to talk about here. First, we have LooksRare and Blur no longer showing flagged OpenSea assets by default. You know how to turn that on via a filter on their website. And bids, while they cannot be accepted on these stolen assets yet, some people are speculating that that will be happening soon. So that's the first story on the whole Blur versus OpenSea debacle that continues to be playing out to what seems like every single day we have a new development. But in other news, we have that there seem to be rising fears that the Blur bid farming liquidity is drying up. Machi, as we know, who bought most of Mando and OSF's $9 million ape liquidation, has been aggressively farming these Blur tokens, but he's been getting hit hard. And as of the most recent account of his portfolio, he has over 16,000 ETH worth of NFTs in his portfolio right now, including 186 apes, 57 other deeds, 13 Azukis, and 71 mutants. There was a thread, really fun one, that was tracking everything that he was doing, including selling ape for ETH, and now scaling back some of his bids. But as a result, we're seeing some floors drop. Other deeds went from, I believe, 2 ETH to the low 1.2s. And he's trying to liquidate some of his portfolio and scale back some of his bids, which is kind of creating this cascading effect. And lastly, Franklin is actually taking some of his apes out of BendDAO to what some believe is fears of them potentially getting liquidated due to the decreasing floor price, but that is just speculation. So it's been a really interesting just seeing that playing out, and people have fears that, hey, the music at some point will stop playing.
I think that's fair. Real quick, Nick. I mean, we got Franklin in the crowd here. One of the culprits of the issues in the NFT space right now. I've invited him to speak. We'll see if he'll show his face on the show. But anyway,
I've been tagging
Nick,
him, and this scammer wouldn't accept it. I mean, dude, what a scammer! You know, this guy. I'm tired of these. The scammer shows his face. Here we go. Franklin decides to, dude, talk us through the strategy. And do you feel any guilt or remorse about the lives that you've destroyed as part of manipulating this market, Franklin?
Yeah, my sincerest apologies to anybody who lost money, because I don't know how you lost money, but if you don't want to lose money, don't buy from me.
They lost money, Franklin, and it's your fault.
And so can you also walk us through? So in addition, we appreciate your apology there. Can you walk us through, like, what do the daily meetings with Machi look like when you're discussing how you're going to collude on this market?
So you know how the NFL is scripted. We learned that 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, how everything was just scripted. So the script today I wrote the script. Yesterday Machi did. And so we email each other. Actually, we fax it to each other because, you know, we like the paper script better than the electronic script. In different time zones. So I sent it to him today. We decided it's time to lower all the floor prices. So script is going as planned, and I'll meet with him in about, I don't know, 4 hours. We'll discuss the script for tomorrow because, you know, again, he's in a different time zone. So I'll get the script pretty early, you know, here where I'm at in the day, so I can prepare myself for what's going to happen tomorrow.
Well, I hope that stand-up meeting with Machi goes well. Easy, do you have any questions for Franklin? Because I know that you watch the market at a very granular level, and we have, again, one of the greatest market manipulators on the show.
Real quick before Easy, the big question is the conversation, the speculation around why you pulled your apes out of BendDAO. Is that accurate, or is that fake news?
Well, because of the 1 hour timer for BendDAO, you just gotta play the game right. If other people are liquidating that's had their apes that could liquidate anytime, you kind of got to rush to sell them. So I had more apes. I always, most of the time, have more apes than I should, because, well, for now at least, while staking the ape on Bindal, you can earn more than your interest that's going up, in addition to getting bin tokens. So it's actually making money. The more debt I get, the more money I make. So it was a positive ROI play. But since the floor price was decreasing a little bit, I just wanted to make sure I got to a safe amount of apes, which I think the final count is going to be between, I would say, upper 70s, lower 80s. So when this all started, I was in like the low 90s, and so I actually started selling off a little bit before OSF did. So if you follow my bin down activities, I was pulling stuff out, selling it, and then boom, they sold 71. So I was a little bit more aggressive in trying to get the rest out. So I'm pretty much all out of pulling out of bin now. Plus, I think the price is kind of low anyway to liquidate at this point, unless other people want to join in the sell off. I mean, Machi went from 100 and maybe 40 something apes to 170 something, and so he's not the reason the floor is dipping. It's because other people are trying to front run him, and we all know what happens when the floor price drops and becomes talk of the town, and everybody says, "Oh my goodness, Franklin's tanking the floor." So it's a Giga Chad move when OSF and Mando dumped 71. Yet when I pull two apes that have been down, people panic like I'm going to be leaving the ecosystem anytime soon. So anytime that I get these signals and pings about, kind of like a sports commentary of my trades, anytime you smell that blood, we all know what happened each and every other time. And then a month later, you're like, oh, I wish I should have bought when everybody was flooding Franklin. So I'm not telling anybody to buy my bags or anything, but at this point, it's becoming a little bit repetitive. So it's not anything I'm like crying about.
Do you think Blur is bad for the market?
No, I think it's pretty cool to see 25,000 ETH worth of Blur bids on apes. I mean, when have we ever had that? We've made it up to like 150 floor, with maybe at most 100, 200 ETH worth of OpenSea bids at any given time. So the fact that we have this much liquidity, this much interest in the space is really, really bullish for me, regardless of if we're not at all-time highs in price. It's just the interest in NFTs I feel like is growing a lot. Then you have the Blur token, which is probably a 9-figure market cap. We had OpenSea raise at a something $1 billion. That's like, I don't know how many figures that is, 11 figures valuation. But they didn't have any, there was no metric to determine, okay, what's OpenSea's overall market cap? But now we have something with Blur where anybody, where you could be sitting in the grocery store, not even owning an NFT, on Coinbase and buy a Blur token and, stake your belief in the NFT market, NFT marketplace. So I think it's the first time where we're encouraged to sort of shop around for NFTs. We're getting paid for our time. And I think eventually the sentiment, whoever has negative sentiment towards Blur, they'll have to sort of, eat their words and realize they're missing out on not once in a lifetime, but just certainly a game-changing opportunity to, I wouldn't just say make money, but just to enjoy the process of Web3 and sort of everything that crypto and Web3 and investing is going to sort of turn into in the future. And obviously, if Blur doesn't deliver, there's plenty and plenty of VCs and creative minds out there waiting to take them down and make a product that's better than Blur. So I really am positive on what's going to happen.
Well, I'm going to completely disagree in the sense that you're way too close to the trading action to think that Blur volume has any indicator of actual demand for the NFT market. I think NFT demand is actually going down right now in the short term. I do think over the long term it'll go up, but right now we're seeing a ton of volume, which is basically people trading in and out based on these bid incentives. I can't see there being any that has any indicator of adoption of NFTs. No one really gives, like, the average consumer. If you told them what's going on or any of the trades that you're making, they'd be like, "Huh, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about."
That's why I mentioned the token. You could be like, if you just sit in the grocery store, you have nothing, you have no idea what NFTs are. You can still trade Blur token. Maybe that could educate somebody about NFT marketplaces and NFTs that may not have otherwise reached. Just like ApeCoin, we were all bullish about ApeCoin for the masses. It's the same. You have the same opportunity to buy ApeCoin or Blur as you have to buy ApeCoin.
Yeah. So what I did was I called up my grandma and I said, "Grandma, go sign up for Gemini." Then what you're going to want to do is wait. Remember, there's going to be a minimum deposit requirement. You're going to have to get through that over the course of a couple of days. Then after you do that, you're going to want to transfer that into MetaMask. Now, MetaMask, be careful because there's a good chance you're going to get scammed. That's just part of being in the crypto space. So move that into MetaMask. Then you're going to go over to Uniswap. You're going to be on Uniswap, and then you're going to convert that ETH into Blur token. Remember, you're going to want to turn up the slippage. You're going to want to adjust that slippage to 5%, Grandma, while you're making that trade, because when you're moving in and out of the market, you got to move fast. So you need that liquidity. You need more flexibility in those bids. So
that sounds tough, but all she has to do is just go on Coinbase and buy Blur. I think Coinbase, didn't they list Blur on their?
Oh, is that right? Okay.
No, they did list it, but I think the price is higher or something on Blur. Easy. Do you have any questions for Franklin, given his market manipulation?
I didn't mean that Blur was easily accessible for people to download a MetaMask and get scammed. I really was talking about decentralized exchange, the same place you buy your ETH from the bank. And, you put your money in from the bank and buy ETH, or put your money in from the bank and buy ApeCoin. You can do it with Blur. That's what I was mentioning. I didn't mean to take it to that level.
You were talking shit about my grandma, Franklin, and I don't appreciate. That's disrespectful for you to come on this stage. She's not even alive right now. I'm going to be honest, but you're just speaking ill of her, and I just don't I don't respect that. And that, there's now some bad blood between us. Easy, is there anything that you wanted to add?
Franklin, is there any concern, I guess, for like the market once the farming incentives stop? Like, do you feel at all that it's like propped up at the moment? Because it seems like
I don't think it's going to stop. It's why would Blur, if Blur stops, somebody else is going to start. Like, that's just how it is. So if Blur wants to stay relevant, they're going to continue to innovate ways to reward people who are in the space.
I like that take. My other question,
Blur
Eric,
stopped, I would stop trading on Blur too. Who all in this room has decreased their trade activity on the OpenSea website because they realized the incentives for trading on OpenSea. First you were paying them 2.5%, so you weren't even getting paid. You were paying them, and then probably forced to pay royalties. And in the last month, I would like to ask anybody who's
I'm gonna raise my hand, Franklin.
Increase on the other one.
I stupidly have not done anything associated with Blur. I got like $400 on the Blur airdrop, which I know like the average person is going to be like, won't sneeze at that, but they're not used to the average crypto sized airdrop. So I stupidly have been doing a lot of trades on OpenSea when I participate. That's just dumb, I know, but I hate Blur's user experience personally. It's just annoying for me because I was raised by my grandma. And so similar to her getting robbed now from MetaMask for trying to buy the damn Blur token on Uniswap, I'm in a similar thing. And I say the grandma thing's a joke, but I'm being legit. I don't like Blur's user experience. It's just poorly designed.
Is a poorly designed Bored Ape with crazy eyes, would you rather have that or have nothing at all because you didn't like the art of the ape?
It's a different conversation.
Well, are you offering me one? Because I'm down. If you got a crazy eye over there, I'll take it off your hands, dude.
So if Blur is the crazy eyes version of NFT marketplaces, and you just turn it down because you don't like what it looks like, is that good advice for people listening to you?
In my opinion, it's a different conversation, Franklin. Easy. Do you have any follow-ups for Franklin?
Nothing really. I mean, the main thing was like where he sees the market going. I guess, Franklin, is there any concern around the fact that it's like 50 wallets tops, 15 wallets that account for about 50% of the volume right now?
No, I mean, how many apes do the top 15 holders have? It all happens that way.
But
You
you
always have
continue to
whales at the
focus
top.
on like this ape narrative. Like, what about every
No,
other
no,
existing project?
I'm just using an analogy. It's not like this is the first time we've seen whales dominate a market.
Yeah.
How many shares do the top 15 holders of, I don't know, Tesla own? You know, it's not that is not surprising. What would surprise me is if we all like watch traded to fake wallets and stuff. That would be an issue, but that's not happening.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen.
Collusion, okay, watch trading is not. Boom, you heard it from Franklin.
We've exposed Franklin. The next thing that we're exposing is our sponsor, Sorare. They're exposed at this point.
Oh, I thought you were going to say what pants you're wearing, but go ahead.
Sorare has been around since 2018. If you like fantasy sports and NFTs, then what other platform can you use? The answer is you can't use any other platform. Sorare is your option, and it's a damn good option. So like I said, there's legit volume on Sorare every single month. We're actually giving away a Sorare NFT. I'm going to pin it to the top in just a second. And if you sign up for Sorare at thenifty.com/Sorare and then post your lineup in response to that tweet at the top, you'll have a chance to win a Steph Curry card. We gave away a LeBron James card last month and a Jason Tatum card the month before. If you don't know these players, they are all top tier NBA players because the NBA is on Sorare. So is in the MLB. So is in English Premier League football, soccer. They signed a 4-year deal. So that's pretty crazy. If you want to compete against me, again, sign up at thenifty.com, thenifty.com/Sorare. There's hundreds of thousands of participants each and every week. So yes, Sorare is a badass NFT platform. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, sign up at thenifty.com/Sorare. Check out the tweet at the top for a chance to win. Clemente, what are we talking about next?
Essentially, we're going to be breaking down this funding debacle and how it affects price action on NFTs. So this is coming off of what we mentioned earlier, World Wide Web announcing a $10 million raise and planning to invest it heavily in recruitment. And upon that announcement yesterday, the floor went from about 0.2 ETH to 0.6 and now settling at 0.4. And as we mentioned earlier this week, Oniforce, who had announced this big acquisition that was finalized, and they were uptrending. I believe they topped out in the mid 2.1s, 2.2s. They are now settling in at 1.5 ETH. So the big question that I'm trying to think through is, how do you approach these acquisitions? Is it that typical buy the rumor, sell the news? Does anything fundamentally change about a company when it gets either acquired or gets additional funding that makes this a longer term buy? And the reason why I ask is, I don't, with especially the news of projects like Metroverse shutting down, I believe we're either going to see people shutting down, getting acquired, or trying to raise additional funds. So over the next few months, I'm trying to figure out what the best strategy is for these types of rumors or acquisitions going forward.
It's always sell the news in the short term, and I think look and then add them to your watch list for buys is the way to handle a lot of these acquisitions, because inevitably what you're searching for in the NFT space, is super ADHD like myself, and also short-term minded. And so the reality is people forget all the news within probably 48 hours. But if you really want to give it some time, give it a few weeks, and floors will go down after a news event. That's the time, I think, to enter most of these projects and just hold on to them. Here's the reality. If you made 50% a year in the stock market, you'd be absolutely destroying. You'd be basically like one of the top performing hedge funds, if not, the top performing hedge fund, essentially. That would just be an incredible performance. And those are the types of things that you can conservatively get. This is not financial advice in the NFT space. I think those are some of the best opportunities for getting those sorts of gains. If you're looking for the 1000Xs sort of things, that's like usually hype fueled run-ups basically, and those are also short-lived. But by short-lived, they can. There's the saying that in the bull market, the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay liquid. And I think that sort of situation applies here to huge run-ups. But yeah, I think it's sell the rumor and then wait for the floor to settle and buy in. Easy. It looked like you were chomping at
I'm
the
in
bit.
like the same boat. Like it's like you almost want to sell as soon as the announcement drops and then wait to see what they execute on. Like I like the Force announcement. It's from a good group, but for me, it's like I want to see what happens next. Like that's my big thing is like where does it go from here? Because like you can have a good acquisition and then they can just not care.
This space, the NFT space, is filled broadly with miserable execution. And I would say like we missed a bunch of deadlines last year, but we're hoping to rectify it this year. But I would say like it's the upside for us is we're still capitalized. And I think there's a lot of businesses that just are not even making an attempt in this space. And so we're going to see a lot of acquisitions like this, especially in a bear market, where people swoop in and say, I'm going to put in an operating team into this and see what happens. And for them, it's not a big bet. It sounds like they were acquired for like $3 million or something like that. And for a private equity fund or something, that's like the fund manager's salary, essentially, that they just like dropped on it. Most of these organizations are used to making investments of $20 million plus. So for them, this is like a flyer. They get some friends who have experience, who probably, you know, ran a successful business before, and say, hey, go try and turn this thing around and turn it into something. So I just think there's a there's going to be a number of deals here where people hop in, they end up buying a la Pudgy Penguins style, and they turn it around. Now, obviously, Pudgy Penguins is not a private equity company, but they had a successful business. They could put in money into this company, and they saw an opportunity there to build a brand which sustains. And that's the thing that exists here right now, is there's this like unique opportunity to develop intellectual property within the NFT space and build sustainable brands. And ironically, a lot of the people that have built IP, which is that first collection, essentially, they're not doing anything with it, basically. And so there's just an opportunity for a lot of these investors to hop in and turn around the ship. And this is just one of those examples. The NFT market, though, the trading market just doesn't give a crap. Like they just don't care about like actual business. They care much more about hype and speculation. And so that's your job. Can you keep that going for a period of time? And right now the sell-off is just like, oh, is this why what the lead up in Force was? Okay, I'm not super thrilled about that. Great, another venture announcement. I've seen that press announcement every day. So anyways.
Easy, anything to add to that?
No, I think Nick literally just hit the nail on the head. It's like you have so much speculation and people anxiously waiting to see like what is going to come from it. And a lot of the times like it disappoints, you know? So like for me, how does that actually like lead to some form of result? And the Force one specifically, I think that there is a lot of potential upside, but it all comes down to like, I guess that execution, you know, like that's always the biggest thing. And they have an experience growing Binance's market extensively, which I think can translate well, but it's the NFT space. And right now we're in this kind of like weird limbo of like figuring out what's next, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely where we're at, I think. Clemente, you have your hand raised, something to chime in with or another topic to serve us?
The only thing I'm curious about when it comes to these acquisitions is like what's stopping whoever buys this project to go, okay, what I'm trying to figure out how do they, my fear is that all of a sudden these guys go, okay, we paid, let's just say $3 million for this. Why don't we mint out another project using the Force brand and community, tie it to speculation. We drop it at 0.05 ETH each, an additional $10,000 collection or an open edition. We make $2 million and we already
That's
get
what
half
Artifact
our
and Nike
capital
did.
back.
It's exactly
Right.
what Nike did. Like,
So that is a strategy you can take. Ultimately, you're going to see people deploy multiple strategies. The pitch of Bored Ape Yacht Club and Yuga Labs, essentially, when they went and raised funding, was we're going to sell more NFTs. We're going to generate more revenue. Look at the revenue that we're making off of just royalties alone, which are now dead, which is a huge impact to them organizationally. Fortunately, they have a ton of capital available, but they just had the revenue completely chopped. So they were neutered as a business, as far as I'm concerned. And so the model that used to exist of royalties to the top projects is being disrupted right now. And so what you're saying, there is a higher chance that primary sales take place. I think what we're going to see is more innovation and projects. We have our own ideas of how that plays out as well. Like, how can you do more primary sales drops without greater dilution to your overall NFTs? There's only one company that's done a great job at that, and that's Yuga Labs. A lot of the other people that we've seen do that, they've basically done more drops, generated more revenue, and we haven't seen shit since that went down. That's not a sustainable model. And the community, the people that buy it, are not really excited about it. That said, we're making it up as we go. The market is making it up as we go. What you really have to see, you don't know. That's the reality around the NFT market. You're not a shareholder. You own a product, right? You just bought an image. That's all that you got, and you're speculating on it with everybody else. Yeah, a collectible. And you have no entitlement to any information about what that business is going to do. Two options for them. One, maybe they're IP centric, and that's what the team decides to focus on, and they really go and take the long-term approach, because the acquisition may have been $3 million, but like I said, those sorts of firms can throw in $20 million. So they could have just thrown in 10 more and said, hey, here's operating capital for the next few years. Go build the IP, then we'll do another drop. So anyone who's short-term minded, I don't think is going to win when this market turns back around. And so they could do that. But basically what you need to look at, the only thing that you can base these companies on a collectible standpoint, and if you're trading it and speculating, is really the public announcements that come out. Other than that, you don't know what's going to happen. But that's where people reveal their cards. And oftentimes the place where people reveal their cards is where Metroverse just did. We're shutting it down. And so that's where they reveal it. You thought that we were doing something for the past year, but we're not. So that's one of the other options. You can do a hard rug, which I would categorize that as a delayed hard rug.
Yeah.
You have
that's just been the story the whole time.
You have a slow rug, which was Oniforce until it got acquired, right? So now they come in with another team that comes in, and now my guess, so far, we have one example of that. That's where the acquisition has gone down, and that's Pudgy Penguins. So if that playbook plays out again, I might pick up some Oniforce here. Like, to be completely honest, you got a well-capitalized team with actual business acumen, and
not going to rug. I mean, they just bought the thing. You don't buy something so that you can just cancel it.
Yeah, and the Web3 space is mostly filled. Most of the NFT projects are led by founders that have zero business acumen, just learned how to trade NFTs, and they weren't entrepreneurs until suddenly they had millions of dollars flashing in their face.
They posted memes on Twitter a couple times.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with becoming inspired to become an entrepreneur. But if you weren't motivated by that and instead money fell into your lap and that's what's driving it, it's not going to be. I'm likely not going to be a big gambler on you.
Well, my man Nick, something's in the water this morning. He's crushing it. I got some questions for Easy. I'm excited. I just bought an NFT, and I'm going to ask Easy if that was smart or if that was stupid. And if he thinks it's smart, I'm going to buy more. But before we get to that, shout out to Sorare, our sponsor. Sign up at thenifty.com/SoRare. If you like fantasy sports and NFTs, then what the hell are you doing? Last month, a 1-of-1 Ja Morant sold for $50K. A 1-of-1 Anthony Edwards card sold for $40K. Those are NBA players. Do you not want a chance to get an NFT that you can sell for $50K? What are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing? Go sign up for Sorare, thenifty.com/Sorare, thenifty.com/Sorare. Been around since 2018. Biggest fundraising round in European history. They timed their fundraise with the top of the market. Did you do that? No, you didn't. You're not as successful as Sorare. Just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway.
Nobody told us to call you a bunch of losers. No, I'm just kidding.
We're just having some fun with the Sorare read here. Anyway, it's free to play. We believe the future of NFTs is free to participate. A lot of people are beating that drum right now. Makes a lot of sense. You sign up on Sorare, you get a bunch of NBA cards or whatever sport you're playing cards for free. You don't have any expectation of selling those. You use those to play and you can win better cards. You can then either keep those better cards and play with them, or you can sell those cards for USDC or ETH, because Sorare is on Starkware, which is layer 2 Ethereum, ladies and gentlemen. So sign up at thenifty.com/Sorare. That's THENIFTY.com/SORARE. So look, Clemente, we got this final discussion here, huh?
Yeah. So here's what and Franklin can jump in if he'd like, but my thesis is I would say I'm a more casual trader. What's going through my head is I'm scared to jump into a lot of these collections right now, because I do feel like the price is inflated 10 to 15% because of the blur bid farming and the liquidity provided, that I don't know how long it's going to last. So what I'm going through is I'm trying to think through over the next month or so, and easy, I'd love for you to take the reign on this. Is let's assume for a second that the market does start seeing a bit of a domino effect. If the blur liquidities does start going down a bit, and we do see some of these dips, I'd like to create, like Nick was saying, a watch list of projects that I'm potentially looking to buy sub 1.5 to 1 ETH. So easy, I'm curious if you have any price targets or anything where for you, as you're watching some of these dips, if they come, that you have the buy ready. Like I'm thinking Sappy Seals, Wrecked Guy, Valhalla, Chimpers. And if you have any thesis or knowledge that you can share as I look to kind of prep for the next month or so within this market.
Yeah, what's up with this Valhalla move right now?
Yeah, I mean, they have their marketplace launching today. There's been a lot of people that have been buying pretty heavily too. I saw a few bigger names on the Twitter sphere excited about it. So that's one that looks interesting.
About Valhalla. So the NFT that I bought was the Valhalla Reserve token. Am I out to lunch on that buy?
Because there's a massive supply of it.
31,000.
Yeah, and the reason that that's out, and I think there may even be more liquidity, like more of those tokens launching. What that is their token to actually burn for re-rolls of their armory. So they have like trade swapping.
Supply is limited and deflationary. The Valhalla Reserve cannot make the token printer go burr.
Okay, so then it's done. So then it's completely capped at this point. So that's like gamified trade swapping for them, which I think if their marketplace drives interest, that's going to be a big piece that they like broadcast.
All right, I'm buying another one.
Yeah, the more interesting thing is like they actually had a pretty good thread today on why they're launching their own marketplace, about it being a more curated experience, and used a few examples of that. So I like it because you have the right people involved, and it's a lot of people that haven't been like aggressively broadcasting it or even like dropping the name. But if you know the chart that they're sharing, it makes sense. The team hasn't vanished, but like my bigger concern is like their main value add was the fact that they wanted to be like a Twitch competitor, which like I personally hope they move on from, because right now you have like Kick launching and getting hyper aggressive growth at the moment, and having like a crypto integration for tips, etc., which like kind of defeats the purpose of a crypto native streaming platform. So other than that, I mean, the team continued, and like the reason they launched this marketplace was because they said that was their primary focus, and they wanted to actually deliver something that they guaranteed. So I like that play. The Armory token, if they can draw more interest aside from just trade swapping, I certainly could see more upside on that.
Well, I also feel like we saw this play out with what's it called? Azuki Bobu the Bean Farmer, where when Azuki was on like an unholy pump, there was like a delayed pump, lagging pump on the token, the Bobu the Bean Farmer, because it was the cheapest exposure to Azuki. I remember I was about to buy it, and then someone said to me that it was because it's a fractionalized Azuki, and if you do the math on the market cap, the math doesn't make any sense, right? It's like 16 million for that fractionalized Azuki. That doesn't really make sense, but the NFT space doesn't make sense, right? And small number just means, ooh, I can buy that. That's small number. Azuki is big number. It's, 17 ETH at the time or something like that. This token is small number. I'll buy small number. And so I'm trying to just, apply that same, kind of logic to what we're talking about here. But we have some other collections. So that was the Valhalla collection. How about Sappy Seals at 1.1 Ethereum easy?
The Sappy Seals play is interesting because they just launched a Bitcoin ordinal, at the moment collection that and someone actually burned this happy seal yesterday. I've been trying to figure out who it was because that was like a weird thing to do. So now there's 9,999, but I think that those could pull back, to be completely honest. Like I think we could see those back towards like 0.8, and that gives an opportunity for more upside. They tend to range 0.7 to 1.1. So it's a little bit high for me right here. I love this Happy Seals project and like ecosystem. I don't hold any. I've traded in and out of them a few times. But to me, that is more of like what's next for the Seals. They have a meme machine that came out. They're hyper aggressive on social media, which is in an attention economy exactly where you want to be. But just the range that they trade in, unless they break above like 1.2, which would open up like a 25, 30% runner at 1.5, I'm not a buyer in this range.
Okay.
They'll be under an ETH in less than 14 days.
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree with that sentiment.
There you go. Wrecked guy at 1.1.
I'm a buyer.
You're a buyer.
Yeah, something about those rec guys, man. Something OSF and Mando show up every single day, and this market's only going to get more and more wrecked. So it works. I don't know what it is about them. I've never held a rec guy, but would it surprise me if they got back to 1.5 area and maybe even higher? No, not at all.
Damn, that's another high buy for Easy making the call. Nick, did you want to chime in with something? It looks like maybe it's okay.
I mean, I'm just thinking like they just got $9 million or whatever it is. Like maybe they take a break.
You never
maybe
know.
Or maybe it was like, that doesn't matter. That sort of cash just doesn't really make a difference to them. So
possible.
I didn't. If so, like, I'd love to check out their apartment. Like, maybe they could let me crash sometime and just see sort of like the life that they're living.
It's probably pretty good, and it's in Europe, so it's even better. Last but not least, Chimpers at 1.2 Easy.
I'm a buyer of Chimpers at 1.2, and I said that yesterday too.
Yeah,
like that's one project I really like their team. Like they are like when you think storytelling NFTs, people are like, I'm not a huge fan of that. But Chimpers has done probably the best job so far of painting a story outside of Yuga with just like animated images. Like it's mostly GIFs, it's mostly things like that. And I just think that they've done an incredible job with it. And their community is like one of my favorite because they're just friendly. Like when you talk bad about them, they're like, hey, let me actually explain this to you in a nice way. Instead of like, you're an idiot, you don't get the ecosystem. And they're like, well, actually, this is what's going on. It's like, it's a nice breath of fresh air from people who seem to just genuinely enjoy the project. And Tempered, he makes great art. So they've done a really good job of like not causing crazy dilution while still having rare assets. And they got a really strong core like holder base.
There we go. Franklin, out of those collections that we just mentioned, to recap, we got Valhalla, Sappy Seals, Wreck Guy, and Chimpers.
Which one are you going to sleep?
I got over 40 Wreck Guys this morning. So just not financial advice.
Yeah, so don't buy Wreck Guys till he unloads that bag.
Yeah,
don't go near it.
Dump more to me.
Do not go near it.
Valhalla, Wreck Guy, Sappy Seals, and was there something else?
Valhalla, Wreck Guy, Sappy Seals, and Chimpers.
Chimpers. I mean, those are all strong projects, but and your question was, the sentiment is that the market is going to go down, which I mean, it's fair to always think that it goes down on more days than it goes up. So I just don't understand the hate, not the hatred, but the lack of attention if you don't like Blur, that you just don't want to use it. So here's the alpha for everybody in the room. You can still earn Blur points, maybe not as many points, but take your price target 10 or 15% below the floor if you really think that it's going to go that low, and just take your however many ETH you got and just max bid at that value. Just leave it in there. You won't buy anything until it's 10 or 15% underneath what it is now. So it's whatever price you think is worth coming in. If your bid hits, then your target hits. Now, obviously, maybe your opinion of the market might change and you think it'll go down another 10 or 15% when it gets there. But the whole point of making money and getting ahead in the space is trying to predict things to happen before it happens. So why not go ahead and put your 10, 15% below floor price bid into Blur and earn some Blur tokens while you're bidding. Again, it's not going to be as much, but again, you're getting paid to literally do nothing. That's just my advice.
Well, hey,
so in terms of a project that I think is going to go 10 to 15%, put your bids in, and the blue chips, Bored Apes, Cool Cats, Doodles. So I bought a lot of OmniForce, so go ahead and put in OmniForce. Just it doesn't really matter at this point. Just take the top volume that's traded regularly or the ones that are popular on Twitter. You mentioned Sappy Sills, and just put all your ETH into the 10-15% below, and then you'll put your money where your mouth is and get paid while doing it.
Got it. Bunny, you have your hand raised. What's going on?
I just wanted to make a personal plea to Franklin to not let the FUD stop him from buying Bored Apes. He's really the only one buying them at these inflated prices, single-handedly keeping my net worth above 6 figures. I do appreciate that.
There you go, Bunny. Clemente, a little closing segment, right?
Yeah, and so we're trying this new segment at every single show, giving you something that you have to or you can be looking for in the market to potentially take advantage of. And for today, Coinbase yesterday launched a quote unquote free commemorative mint as part of the base launch that was announced. It's mintable on Zora until midnight Eastern on Sunday. About 100,000 have already been minted, and people are actually paying a premium for some of these low triple-digit serial numbers. We saw a couple of sales over 1 ETH, so there's speculation that it could be something. And at $1, you're up. Your downside is low. And in the upside, that there is some speculation. That speculation turns to something. You could be looking at a potential profit to be looking for there.
Nick, you chuckled.
Yeah, I mean, it's like literally put any random image and just be like, it's a low number, and people are like, oh my god, I gotta get the low numbers. It's like the ordinals inscriptions numbers, the ENS domains short low numbers. Like it's I don't know. I just think it's hilarious. It's like it is as stupid as it sounds. Some of those things are just like human behavior when it comes to collecting. I've been looking at the toy market and just sort of like watching videos and learning about people who like collect toys. Because that sounds weird because a lot of but like and how those businesses operate. And it's like people like end up just habitually like collecting, those toys, and they end up looking for some of these low number items. I don't know. It's completely artificial, but it works. So
it's a collectibles thing.
I'm here for it, and I'm trying to understand that as deeply as I can because I'd like to exploit that as much as possible for profit.
That's what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks to everybody who's listening. Thanks to Franklin for not only manipulating the market, but joining the show. We run the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern time each and every week. One more shout out to our sponsor, Sorare. Sign up at thenifty.com/Sorare, THENIFTY.com/SORARE. If you enjoy fantasy sports and the blockchain, we will be back next week. See you.